welcome back to the channel. Today we're going to do an absolute must if you're collecting Wainwrights. It's the Fairfield Horseshoe. Right, let's check it out on the map. We begin today's walk in Rydal. Starting up the lane, we soon get onto the fell side, making the main ascent up to our first of 8 Wainwrights Nab Scar. This walk has excellent views which continue to grow as we move up the fell side. We move on to Heron Pike, where we get fantastic views over Grasmere and the surrounding fells. Stone Arthur appears to our left, and we make our way up to our third Wainwright, Great Rigg. Getting towards the head of the valley, Fairfield comes to meet us as we claim our fourth Wainwright. After admiring the views over to St.Sunday Crag and Helvellyn, we head over to Hart Crag, and then it's another up and down until we get to Dove Crag. From this point, it's a steady walk over to High Pike, with views over the far eastern fells to our left. We continue down to the appropriately named Low Pike, and this will complete our collection of 8 Wainwrights for the day. Ambleside is ahead of us, and as we continue to descend, there's a grassy rundown. We join a section of the Coffin route, which takes us through the grounds of Rydal Hall to our finish point. We're starting off today's walk in Rydal at St Mary's Church, which is just behind me, and we're heading up to Rydal Mount. As we head up, this is Rydal Hall on my right, and you can stay there in the grounds, and parking is also £5 for the day. I started just down here, and there's free parking for about 8 cars. So I was a bit lucky, got the next to last slot there. We're just about 9 o'clock in the morning here, and we come across this on the route. Rydal Mount's the last family home of Wordsworth. It's a popular tourist destination in the area, and we're also just at the Coffin route. I covered the route from Ambleside to Grasmere as the Coffin route, which is what we're coming across here. And the Coffin route, it is a corpse road, and that's one used to transfer bodies from Ambleside to Grasmere. And the reason for that is really that the church in Grasmere is much older than the one in Ambleside, and in those historic days, very important to get yourself buried in church grounds. So that was used to transfer the bodies. If you want to learn more about that, I'll pop a link into my video on it. It is a steep ascent as we come up. It's late spring, and today's forecast is high cloud, which is good for us, and also a little bit of light rain. So we've got waterproofs packed just in case. There's our marker then, public footpath. Just head up. So you can go on the flats, but we're heading up just past Hart Head House. So through our gate, and soon onto the fell side. I have been asked to do this one by a subscriber, so if there's anything you'd like me to do or want covering, just let me know in the comments. Only a short distance up, and you're treated by that view behind me. Fantastic. Coming into June, so we've got some foxgloves out. That'll be working its way up the stem as time goes on. Here's our first stile then, and dog gate. So if you have got a dog, it's definitely one you can do. The first Wainwright we're getting to, and top, is Nab Scar. So it's a bit of a hike to start off with. Because it's a popular route, the walk up here is a conservation path. And on another video, when I was going up to Rydal Pike, somebody said, oh, that looks a lot easier than when I did it back in the 80s, but that's because the conservation paths weren't there. And so this is a lot less technical these days. But yeah, really important to put the stone path in, stop people wandering off. So you can see faint tracings of where people have gone, oh, that'll be quicker, but really stick to the path. That'll keep the mountainside safe. And also, don't forget the views, because that's why we're here. You see, this is what I'm talking about. I know it's quicker, but it's just a road in the mountains, so if you're doing this, just stick to the paths, and that'll keep it a beautiful place for future people. The up from the church is about 380 metres, so it's quite a steep one to get you started. The thing about this one though is once you're up, then you're sort of bobbling around on the tops. So a bit of exertion to start off with, then it's a good day. Great views all day as well. Because we're so close to Ambleside, which is just over here, then you've got a view of Low Pike coming up there, which is a fantastic fell. Great one for a family walk. I've got a couple of videos on that, so if you want to see those, they're in the family section. And that includes Rydal Caves, Low Pike Tarn, so great walks around there. Zigzagging a bit, and if you're thinking, where's the rest point? This is one, and it's got a fantastic view. So we'll get on that, have a little sip of water. Once we reach this fence, you have got a cracking view there down to Windermere, and Ambleside is just at the side here. So that is well worth a look. So if you've done this in the Crag, then this is the view that you would have had. What a view. I'll get you to the edge here, we'll have a look. Wow. Now this is Rydal water, it's just below. And we've come from Rydal today, which is just there. And when we get a bit further up, get views of Grasmere and Grasmere village. Here you've got views over Low Pike Fell, which is closest to us, and the Old Man and Brim Fell and Weatherlam just in the background with Swale How. And again, they are classics. I've cut some old material out the site because I don't think it was kind of good enough to waste your time with, to be honest. So that's gone. So I'm going to reshoot some of those walks. And you might see a couple of re-edits coming in as well, because I'm going to adjust the audio and stick a couple of maps in to a couple of old videos. So if you see those, they'll have remastered on the front, and they won't be up on a Sunday like the new stuff. I'll put them in during the week. But if you want to see my director's cut, then you can always have a look at those. Now this is a view of 3 lakes as you come up. So you've got Windermere over here that's growing, and then underneath Rydal water, you can just see a few canoeists in there. And then over to this side, we've got Grasmere. So what a view. I'm doing this today because a subscriber, Philip, who was kind enough to buy me some coffees, said he'd just done this, but it was all clagged in and he didn't know what the views would be. So today, I'll show you all those. If you do want to support the channel directly and get more of these videos going, then that really helps support the channel. We've got about 20 metres more ascent to do before we get to Nab Scar. You can see behind me, it flattens out quite a bit here. After the initial up, it's a little bit easier. Wasn't sure how busy this would be today because it is the school holidays, but equally it's the Friday and it's been dodgy weather all week and forecast a bit of rain, so that puts a lot of people off. The main thing I look at though is cloud base, because it's going to be really high today and it's the only day this week that's going to happen. So really worth checking mountain forecast before you come out, then you can see what it's like on the tops. The only thing to be concerned about today really is the winds will be about 25 miles an hour. So as you can see, the path goes a bit rubbly at this point, but it's less climby than it was. Hello, a little bit of sheep action, always good. When we're near the top, we get to this little stile in the wall here. Look at those views out though, absolutely brilliant. It's been quite a wet week in the lakes, and this is the only, I'll say, dry day. It's going to rain a little bit later, but that's okay because the main thing is the cloud stays high. But I've got with me this top because although I felt it was too warm coming up, by the time you get to the top, the wind was going to kick in, and I knew it. So I've got this, I've got my sort of wind sheeted jacket, the orange one, which isn't really thermal, but it keeps the wind off. And I've got a little bit of a thermal jacket just in case. Trousers wise, I've zipped off my shorts. So I've got full length trousers, but I always buy ones that have zip off legs because that helps you control the temperature a bit better. And I always prefer that. Anything I'm using today, it's all linked in the description. So if you want to see what it is and how you get it, then just pop in there and you can have a look. As we come up, we can see where we're coming down. So here we've got Dove Crag, and then High Pike and Low Pike. So what we're doing is working our way up to Fairfield, and it's a sort of steady ascent, but you're bobbling up and down a bit. And then on the way back, it's a gradual walk down. Again, bit of a scoop at the top end to get it down and up, but on the way back, it's pretty much straightforward. This walk is something like 16k. Wow, look at that. Just opened up for us there. And there's our walk back. Wow. So we've got Dove Crag, and then High Pike and Low Pike, and then we're down towards Ambleside again. It's just down there. I keep getting these little clipped views as you go around, so it's definitely one for the views, this. But it's going to take most of a day or a full day, so just prepare yourself for that. But the good thing about carrying water is, as you go through the hike, your bag gets lighter. Quite a few people ahead, and I'm obviously walking faster than them because I'm catching them up. But I'm just going to stop here a little bit because I could do with a little drink, and that is the view going back. Wow, majestic. Look at that. Right, so a little sit and a little drink. While we're doing that, you can admire the view. We're off again, and the walking surface gets a little bit more sort of muddy and stony as you go up, but we're quite near to the top. It's all this kind of stuff with no specific path, but I'm just trying to keep as much as I can on the stones. As you ascend this, it's definitely worth taking a look at that behind you, because that is the best view. Oh, what a one for views though. I'd say once we're up this, we've already done most of the hike for today, then we're just bobbling around the tops. If you're doing your Wainwrights, then this is absolutely packed with them, so you're going to have to tick off quite a few. So if you're starting your journey, get into it, I would say this is a good one when you think you can manage about 15k. I'm doing this today as a solo hike. If you're going out on your own, the path's pretty clear, and there are the curb markers behind, so they'll give you a direction. But yeah, it's fairly difficult to get lost on here. I would always take the app though, because when you get to the top end, if you come off wrong, then you might be heading towards St.Sunday Crag or something like that, which is quite the walk home. So I always take paper maps in the bag and an app on the phone, so I've got it covered both ways. Also though, I've done this multiple times, so I'm pretty familiar with the route. And if you're not, and you've got someone a bit more experienced, then that's always good, because they can take the sort of charge in getting you around. They'll have an idea about things like liquids or equipment to take out with you. I've got 2 water bottles with me, and one has got electrolytes in it and the other's just water. The electrolytes will stave off cramp, so if you're doing longer ones and a bit more exertion, then that's a good thing to have. There's another cairn, keeps on track, and a few sheep enjoying the landscape, and a bit of a graze. Wow. Let's get on then. Nearly our second Wainwright, Heron Pike, And I've gone right past Nab Scar and forgot to point it out to you, so apologies. This is our second Wainwright, Heron Pike. So they come quick and fast on this, probably about a kilometre or two between them. As we come up Heron Pike, we've got a fantastic down and up to do. But as I say, the tops come quite quickly on this one. I'm not necessarily going to stomp all the peak stones today because it's just full of people having the sandwiches, so I don't want to disturb them. I'll do a cool flyby of all the tops instead. If there's one without people having the sandwiches on, I'll show you. But it's like every single one. Anyway, you'll notice I've switched to my wind jacket because it is a little bit nippy up here today, and that was as forecast. So although I felt a bit hot earlier on, now it's well worth this jacket. And if I get cold, I've got my mid layer to put on as well. So always worth bringing those. Now we are up, the tops are pretty straightforward. You're just walking along this steady path, and we're going to loop all the way to Fairfield at the top and then come back down this side. The horseshoes, if you're not familiar with them, it's essentially just a ridge walk around a river in the middle. There's quite a few around the lakes, so I think I'll put together a bit of a compilation video to show you a few of those if you're interested. There's Wainwrights in all of those, and they're definitely worth doing because it's quite a steady walk. Don't have to think too much because as long as you're following the valley round and you can see it, it's all good. Unless of course it's clagged in, then it isn't. This is Rydal Fell as we go up. The next stop for us is going to be Great Rigg. If you are trying to bag Wainwrights really quickly, then it's possible to nip off the side of this and do Stone Arthur as well. And that's got a great view down to Grasmere. So if you're looking to pick up that one as a one-off, then you can nip off path and get it. As we come along, this is Rydal Fell, and we can see our next Wainwright coming up on us, and that's Great Rigg. At this point actually, you can see the head of the valley there, where Fairfield is, so I'll be scooping around that and heading down the other side. What a view out though. As we're looking out to the side here, you can just see Crinkle Crags and Pike of Lisco, so Langdale Valley, and over to Bow Fell, and Scar Fell is there in distance. Really close to us, we've got Helm Crag. If you're looking for a shorter one to get started, Helm Crag is an absolute classic. It's known as the Lion and the Lamb because of the rock formations on the top. So I've got a video on that if you want to see it. I'll just pop it in the link for you. That's us going forward. At the side, you've got Stone Arthur. So if you're looking to pick that up as another Wainwright, then you definitely can do that on this. You're just going to have to do a bit of a out and back. Got to say the valley's looking fantastic today, so I'm really glad I came out. It's getting towards summer now, just in late spring, and the weather's been a little bit dicey this week, but it's come good today for sure. Look at that. There is just a little bit of clag touching the big ones in the background, so you can just see over there, but it's definitely not going to bother us. I know that some people watch the video because they're super experienced and they want to kind of look at the walk again, and some people are planning the walk. And I've had a few people asking me about going out for the first time by yourself, and what I would say is just go on a popular route where you expect other people to be there, and take a map and a compass if you know how to use them. But yeah, equally take a nap, and all my videos have got the walk in the description, so you can get those, download them and just follow that on your phone. But obviously make sure you've got enough battery to do it. And I would start with smaller ones and then just work your way up. But as I say, on a clear day, these horseshoe ones are difficult to get wrong because you are literally just walking around a valley. And if I keep the stream to my right today, just going around a circle, so dead easy. And equally, I know some people are thinking, oh, I need a walking buddy, but It depends who's free. Sometimes I just go out on my own, and sometimes I go out with other people. It just depends who's free. But you know, it's not going to stop me. If I think it's a good day and I want to get the exercise in, it's a good thing to do, so I'll do it. And probably about half the people I see on these walks are solo walkers. So yeah, no one's going to think you're weird. I think I'm weird, waving a GoPro around and flying a drone, but you'll be all right. We today are in the Eastern Fells, and right in the distance is Scafell Pike. That's in the Southern Fells, so we've got massive views out today. Look at that. This, as I say, Old Manor Coniston area, and that's Coniston Water just over there. I'm not mentioning all the downs and the ups today because you just kind of are undulating, but this one you will notice. So this is up to Great Rigg, and this is 150 metres on the way up, so it is one that's going to be noticeable for you. But then when you're up there, it's just a gentle gradient across the Fairfield. It's at this point you can really see what you're walking around, and that behind me is Rydal Beck. Let's just have a look at it. So there it is. You can see there's the head of the valley, and then we're working our way down here all the way to Windermere. When we get a bit further on and we're at the head of it, I'll give you a shot down it with the drone, but for the moment we've got this climb to do. Here's the foot of the ascent then. So a bit of a pull to get up, about 150 metres, should be fine for us. A couple of stops on the way I think. And again, that is our view out. Ridiculous. Bit of a climb, but it's just a question of taking it easy on the way. What a view back though. Still heading up. You can see it's this shady stuff. Stone Arthur is just out to the side, and you can actually do this walk from Grasmere and Stone Arthur. I'm not going over there today, but I'll pop it in the description for you so you can see the other route map as well if you want to do that. So if you're joining here from Stone Arthur, you've obviously gone that way. We're going to all take the same path around the tops. So that's going to be a cracking loop. Just for reference, we hit this cairn and it's getting a bit busier now because that's where we've come today, and that's the Stone Arthur track. And these two will join up at this cairn. So if you want to do it that way, then that's how you do it. And this is still our climb. We've got about 20 more metres of up to do, so it's a bit of a consistent one. I've been trying to sort of shoot past a couple of groups of people as well, so a bit of a breathy one for me. But look at that going back. We're rounding off now. We'll soon be at the summit. Shiny bit of clag. Cairn markers are here for us. Just keeps on the straight and narrow. Here we are then, Great Rigg. The first one without people and their sandwiches. So we'll give it a tap. Boop. Wow. And that's us going forward to Fairfield. Wow, what a look round. We're leaving Great Rigg behind and we're just heading over to Fairfield. And that's it on the walk up. So that's the pinnacle. Once we've done that, we're heading around the horseshoe. Just here ahead, you've got Dolly Wagon, and this is seat sandal. So Dolly Wagon, and then you're all the way over to one of the biggest ones in the region, and that is Helvellyn. If you fancy doing Helvellyn, but you don't fancy the ridges, then you can go up the back end via Dolly Wagon, and that's kind of a much more gentle route. And then before you get to Helvellyn from the backside, you can just sit on the edge and watch people doing striding edge if you want. Have your sandwiches. The up here is not that steep, but it is continuous. So you're going to be going for a while. Plenty of time to look back and admire the views though, because they are spectacular. Path though is pretty broad, easy to follow, as I say. So if you're doing this on your own, even if it's a bit claggy, you should be pretty clear. You'll see where it starts to level out, and a bit further on is the top of Fairfield. From there we'll be able to get a good view down of St.Sunday Crag. A few sheep there going out, and in the distance looks very much to me like Great Gable and Pillar. Both great runs round. Pillar is on the Mosedale Horseshoe, so if you want to see that as another horseshoe to do, have a look at that, because that is fantastic. I'm going to do a video which is putting the horseshoes together in my rank order. So you can see if you agree with that when it comes out. Once we get right up there, we can get a great view down the other side of the valley, and that's going to take in Ullswater and St.Sunday Crag. Here we go then, wind shelter number 1. And the top of this is really stony, as you can see. Absolutely mad. I'll just take you to the edge, and this big lump is St.Sunday Crag. Absolutely fantastic. Wow. As we come off, we're going to make our way to Hart Crag, which is just over here. On this one then, once we've done Fairfield, we head back and we're just following the track around to the other side of the valley. As we get to the head of the valley, you've got that cracking shot going down there. You can see the path. We've got a descent and then to Hart Crag and then Dove Crag. But look at that, you can see all the way down to Windermere. It's just a really good day out. Wow, that's our valley view going down. Absolutely spectacular. Before we get to Hart Crag, we've got a bit of a descent. This is only about 30 metres or so, but it is a little bit steep. Whoa, wind's getting up. Quickly down that, and then same again, got the ascent, probably about 50 metres up. Then we'll be at the top of Hart Crag. So it's 4 Wainwrights on one side and 4 on the other. Still got that view going on down to Coniston. We'll come up to Hart Crag, which is just up here. Yeah, you will notice that little climb. As I say, half term today, so lots of people having their butties on the summits. That's us to the summit. Whee. Fantastic view down. And over here, you've got to look out to Placefell, Angletarn Pikes, and Brock Crags over there. Got videos on those, and this is where we were the other week, so that is Hartsop Dodd. When you get to Thornthwaite Crag, on that walk it backs onto the Kentmere Horseshoe, so I'll put that in the compilations for you for the horseshoes. We're heading off, and it's a short walk over to Dove Crag, which is just over there, so a bit of a down and then up again. That's probably about 40 metres down and up, so straightforward enough hopefully. Windermere in the distance greeting us. It's a bit bouldery down this bit, so just a bit of caution. Now that we've completed that, the rest of this is relatively straightforward and easy to do. There's one little climb down, but we'll come to that in a little bit. But first, we'll get our way up to Dove Crag. That's the good thing about Ridge Walk, is you get good views all the way around. On the other side, this is what we've already done. So that's up to Fairfield and round via Hart Crag. You can see it's pretty gentle going forward. That's our way to Dove Crag. As we go up, pretty much sticking to this wall. There's another track at the side, which is sort of a grassy one, but that's not really the path, so I try not to encourage it and just stick near the wall here. That's got a better surface on it, and it's also got better views. I've done this a few times, and I've done it a bit in the Clag, and I've done it on perfect days like this. But yeah, if you've done it, just let me know when you did it and how you did it, because there's some different ways of doing it and tagging in different Wainwrights, and it's a fantastic day for it today, it really is. As we're coming up, that is the summit of Dove Crag, and it is quite notable, unlike some of the ones as you come up here. But yeah, it's a great view from the top. Let's give it a go. Summit this. There we go then, Dove Crag. And we do get that great view down to Windermere, but also you can see over to Yorkshire from here, and very much in the distance is Ingleborough. And now it's just a bit of a down as we get towards Ambleside. And again, I was asked to do this video to show you the views, and look at that, it's ridiculous. So if you come up here in the Clag, it's definitely worth a revisit. And at least you got the lay of the land and know your way around a little bit. I hope this doesn't disappoint, because there are spectacular views the whole way around. From here, we'll pick up High Pike and then onto Low Pike, and then we're pretty much down to the village. Again, still following the wall. Now this bit I remember being a little boggy last time I came down. A couple of sheep there and some cotton grass going. So for views, I can see all the way over to the southern lakes over there and the southern fells. So Great Gable and Pillar in the distance, Scarfells over there. And then on the other side, you've got all the way over to Yorkshire and the Yorkshire Dales. So it really is one for the views. With Windermere in our sights, we can see High Pike down there, which isn't really that high, but it's higher than Low Pike. So whoever named those, well done on the sequencing. I normally mention some things about names, but I haven't actually done that today. So I'll put some things in the description and that'll satisfy some curiosity. Still lambing season in the lakes. A few little ones knocking around, even on the fells. Last time I did this, it was autumn, and I remember this all being quite boggy. But today, dry as a bone. The last couple of weeks has been quite dry in the lakes, but actually this week was quite wet, but it's definitely not affected this walk today. Look at that, bone dry. It's been a fantastic day weather-wise, and it said light rain today, but about 4 drops hit me about lunchtime, so that's pretty light. This is literally what we've had all day. Absolutely brilliant, high cloud, sun. Just worth mentioning, it is spring and it's about 14 degrees today, and I have got factor 50 on because I know it's cloudy, but they're not going to protect you. So I always wear a hat, as you'll probably have noticed. But yeah, just for your ears and whatnot, it's worth getting a bit of that stuff on, because otherwise they can be pretty crispy and you don't want to get any sort of issues with your ears. That is a fantastic view going down, look at that. High Pike down there really stands out in the landscape, the silvery backing of Windermere. So can you do this walk with a family? You can do, and I have seen quite a few families doing it this week. It is half term. So if you want to get out with the kids, it'd probably be a full day, but just be aware of, like, you know, your amount of drinks and snacks and whatever you need to take with you. But yeah, definitely can be done. It's a little bit windy today, so I'm thankful of this wall at the side. It gets me a bit of protection. This section from Dove Crag, it's pretty straightforward. You're just walking down, it's a gentle descent, and eventually you get yourself to High Pike, just over here. I'm around 4 hours into the walk now, and I'll get this done probably in 6 hours. So the recommended time is somewhere between 5 and 8 hours. I've been doing a bit of drone flying and that, and taking my time. But yeah, you should be able to do it in a full day, a little bit more than half a day. Here we are then. This is High Pike. Yes. And we've got views out again towards Angletown Pikes and Brock Crags, and then all the way down to Windermere. From High Pike, we'll just head off, same direction, walking straight towards Windermere and Ambleside village just here. So it is really a lovely walk, and as we're dropping down a bit, we're out the wind, and I think I'm going to de-jacket again because it's getting quite hot. You can see on this one, it's a picturesque run into the village. You can start this from Ambleside, but I've started it in Rydal, simply because it makes it slightly shorter and there's free parking. As we're heading forward, Low Rigg is also obvious and pops up in the landscape. If you did start in Ambleside, it really does feel like you're walking back to the village here. But I'll say, we'll turn off a little bit and go to Rydal Hall, I'll show you that. And we'll pass the grots there, which is interesting. And there's a couple little historic features around there we can have a look at. I didn't mention it earlier, but at Rydal Hall, there is a cafe there, so there's like toilet facilities and you can get some refreshments there. So you can do that on the way back or stock up before you start to go out. Either way, best to get prepared because you're walking for quite a long time on a ridge and there's nowhere to hide for a wee. I've got to say, this has been perfect today. I don't know what they were thinking with that light rain, but it never happened. So we're going down to that stile over here. Hiya.
You know your mountains?
Yes, I do, yeah.
Oh no, look, what's the big, it's going to be really obvious, the big sort of bit there.
Just heading up. This always looks like a little castle to me. It's like just a wall going up, but just the structure of it. We are going to keep the height, so you can take a lower path here, but we're going to stick to the wall. That'll get us to the summit. A short up, probably about 30 metres, and we're there. But look, it just looks like an ancient battlement the way it is. Must be really important to keep the sheep on that side of the fence. We're staying high, so I already am sticking to the wall for this. A little bit of a scramble, but it's all good. Wow, so that's us at the top. That's definitely the highest thing up here. And there we go. There's our view down. This down's a little bit slabby, but you can make it. Just be careful. And again, the view's still there with us. So rejoin the other path here. Then it's a continuation of the descent. From here you can see it just levels out, and then we're gently dropping down towards Ambleside. Before we get there though, to get back to Rydal, we'll just veer off and then head round. We'll go through the grounds of Rydal Hall, and as I say, there is a cafe there if you want to get some refreshments, or just a little bit down the hill there's the Badger Bar if you fancy a pint. Now this section's partly what I remember, so maybe there's some bog on here somewhere, and the cotton grass anyway is an indicator of bog. So we're just going to stick to the wall, and you've got this nice path just over here. There is like a grass path over there, but really it isn't the path, and people have done it to avoid this. But there's plenty of stones in here, so it's no problem, and it just conserves the fell side if you walk on the actual path. Otherwise, it's just random lines all over the place. There's our view once again. Doesn't seem to be getting much closer though. We're nearly complete, and this is a walk you can do from Stone Arthur, or from Ambleside, or from where I started today, which is in Rydal. So if you have done this, let me know how you did it and what you thought of it and who you did it with, and just pop it in the comments. Always good to know the alternatives. That's more like it. Now I recognise this copse of trees, so we're basically going to go that side of the trees and then hook around to the trees in the distance, and then we'll be on the path back to Rydal. This is that bit I mentioned earlier. There's a bit of a clamber down. It's about 15 feet. So I'll not video it because I need both hands. That section is pretty smooth. So if you don't want to do it, you can just walk around. But we are down here to finish. That little bit's Sweden Crag, and if you're not that confident on climbing, maybe just nip around the edge and you can do it that way instead. But you know, I don't mind a little clamber. Ferns are fully out. Well, nearly fully out, look at that. We're getting there now. So we're going to head down and go for a drink, but unusually we're not going to the pub, we're going to the barber's. But more of that in a little bit. Little style for us. Oh, hang on. There's no steps. What's happened here? Oh well, I've got another one here. Little dog gate though, so if you've got a dog, you can go up there. I have done this walk with a dog, so if you have got one and are wondering about the little clamber, you can get round it that way, so it's not a bother. There's a bit of a split here, and we're going to not go down there. We're keeping our height, so stay with the wall all the time. Look at that view, it's growing of Windermere. And then out to the side, look at that. Oh, still absolutely fantastic. It's been like that all day. Wow, that's Low Pike Fell just in front. This time of the year, I really like it when you get these. So the foxgloves are just sticking out against the green background. Look brilliant. I know a few photographers watch the channel, and this is a great place to be in the spring. There's loads of opportunities. I know, you know, days with blue sky aren't that great for photography, but lots of other things to take photos of. There's a bit of reforestation going on. Got some protected trees, and we're just joining this main path now, and we'll work our way down to the stream. Once we get there, we're following it towards Rydal. It's a ferny scene as we get towards low ground. As we get into the more wooded section, got a couple of K to go, then we'll be fully down. We can just see, again, we're getting sort of near to the church there in Ambleside. Looks like a little Lego village from here. We're going to start to see very distinct little features. I know we're getting close. The thing is, when you're videoing on your own, you have to keep going and getting your own stuff. I feel like I've been looking at this view of Ambleside for about 2 hours, which you probably have. And there's like, looks like a green roof of something in the background, but I can't imagine what it is. As we're getting down to the Beck, there's a little turn I need to tell you about, because if you don't take it, you'll end up in Ambleside. We're through here. There we go. Give it a close. Other side here you've got Scandale Beck, and once you see that you'll know we need to turn off soon, because we're not going to follow this path round to the bridge, we're going to head off to the right. I'm glad I did this early, because even though we're so low down you can see the wind's picking up, and it was due to pick up towards the end of the day, so I don't want to do that. Now this is the route back to Ambleside if you want to take it, but we're not going over that bridge, we're just going to veer off here. There we are. So that is the bridge, and this is our faint little offshoot. This will take us down to the path we need, which will go past Rydal Hall, and that's part of the Coffin route which I mentioned earlier, and that's an ancient route which takes people or corpses from Ambleside through to Grasmere, and it was before the church in Ambleside was built, so in those days obviously you're looking to get buried on holy ground, otherwise your soul will wander the earth. And those corpse roads or coffin routes aren't really walked by locals at other times, because they're a bit concerned about souls wandering up and down. It is an interesting route, and especially if it's like a windy day or not great, the coffin route just takes you on a low level route. It's dead stable and it's got a lot of interesting points on it. Let's just get through this gate. Where's the thing? Oh, there we go. So if you want to find out about that, I'll put a link into that video. There we go. I don't think the ferns have quite made it back here yet. And last time I came down here, actually, a few months ago, it looked like they'd all been properly chopped back. We're into the woods a little here. There you go, a little bit of waterfall action in the woods. Once we're through here, we get to the main path through Rydal Hall. There we go. Then we just work our way to the right and we'll get our way into the grounds. Now then, let's go on here. Oh, there we go. So that's the Fairfield Horseshoe. We'll just work our way into Rydal Hall. If you enjoyed the video, it helps me if you click on the like, share, put comments in. All that stuff helps to push it out to more people. And that's the game we have to play on YouTube against the algorithm. But it does help to grow the channel, so it's really important. So if you're doing that, then thanks a lot. Equally, if you do want to support the channel directly, then you can just buy me a coffee in the Buy Me a Coffee link, and that's just in the pinned comments. All right then, let's go to the barber's and get that drink. Here's our entrance to Rydal Hall. If you're thinking of staying around this area, then you can stop at Rydal Hall. They have rooms, or you can pitch your tents here, or you can stay in one of the little yurts, so they're just dotted about. I'll drop a link in the description if you're interested. The little tea room is just up here, so the facilities. And we're just approaching the grot. There we are. Whoop. The little information plaque's gone, but the grot is a little reading room, and you get a cracking view of the waterfall just here. Parking for the day, if you can't get on the road, you can park here, and it's £5, you just pay at the hall. We're just nipping through this gate, and that'll take us back to the church. Oh, it's heavy. There we go, Barbers of Windermere. Just going to pop in here. Just in the Barbers now, they go. I'm still on draft, and Wainwright's in the fridge. What more could you ask for?